The rape list actually had been around for a long time. I can't tell you when it officially started because it was never a premeditated, organized, let's write on bathroom walls kind of thing.
Here is our recreation of what you might find on the wall of the women's rooms of Brown University. The actual name of the guy. You see this up close here? Actual name of the guy written on the stall wall is a rapist. Nothing can get him off campus. Rich white boys can do whatever they want.
I was involved in an incident my sophomore year, and I called the police and I filed a report, and I also filed a complaint with Dean Inman, who at that time was Dean of Students.
Yes, while there are some supportive networks that are set up on campus, women who wanted to bring their cases through have had to deal with stuff like that being said to them. This case can be boiled down to bad chemistry. So you're the one with the little romance gone sour to a rape survivor. People who have been drinking put themselves in a dangerous situation because their inhibitions break down, and rape is certainly not a matter of a woman's inhibitions just breaking down.
Who said that?
That was the dean.
So towards the end of my sophomore year, I went to a seminar on what Brown is doing about sexual harassment and assault, and I thought, I've got to hear this. I mean, what a joke, because I've been dealing with it all year, trying to get something done through the system. At this seminar with a number of women who had gone through similar things, I met Jen David and Lisa Bilowitz and Kristen Lahiff.
A gentleman here said, reporting to bathroom walls, people are reporting to the proper authorities and being turned away. And I think that's very important. We have to stress that the bathroom walls are a last resort.
With sexual assault and sexual harassment, those kind of offenses were always diverted into a whole other sort of mediation direction with two deans who would meet with the students and try and mediate and get them to apologize and move it on. And as a result, I think there was a lot of anger slowly building up over a lot of time among female students at Brown, that these kind of offenses were treated very differently or, pretty much just swept under the carpet.
Women for years had been writing on the bathroom wall in the Rockefeller Library. And it wasn't really a list, it was more a conversation than a collection of names. It was more of a dialogue, like, be careful with John Doe, he has trouble with the word no.
Well, first of all, the bathroom walls, I should say, at Brown have always been a source of referral they were always a source of referral to my office, because I would often say to a student, well, how did you find me? Or how did you know to come to talk to me about your eating disorder? And they'd say, oh, I got your name off the bathroom wall.
So this kind of dialogue had been going on, but then the Brown Daily Herald ran a very inflammatory headline saying rape list in Rockefeller Library.
I remember going to a meeting, and I was one of probably the few women at that meeting, and maybe I was even the only woman at the meeting. And there was on the agenda, this item was, the bathroom walls, and this group of male administrators talked for quite a long time about what are we going to do? How do we get male plant operations workers into female bathrooms?
And the university started erasing the list, painting over it. Women in turn started rewriting the list or copying it down in notebooks, rewriting it in other bathrooms, so it kind of proliferated. It wasn't just in the Rock. There was now a list in the science library. There was now a list, at different bathrooms. But the university then, instead of just painting over it in white, they started painting over it in black, so you couldn't write.
I remember saying, well, don't you think we should talk about why the women on this campus are feeling that they have to take to the bathroom walls to talk about rape on campus? Don't you think that's really the issue? Not how do you get the writing off the bathroom walls, or what do you build new bathrooms with walls you can't write on? I mean, that's not, I think we're missing an important point here.
My point is that if I went in and wrote tomorrow on a bathroom stall, Bill Donahue is a rapist,
right,
your name would be around campus in a week, and you would be known as a rapist.
Yeah.
And that's very dangerous. I think that there must be some avenue that we could pursue to...
I only feel a little uncomfortable standing here.
It became an issue of men's rights being violated, men not being given due process. You know, never mind that the underlying situation that caused the list was the fact that women were being violated and being violated for years with nothing going on in terms of stopping it.
And so the Dean of Student Life called and organized a town meeting in List Auditorium to talk about sexual assault on campus. And List probably holds 300 people, and it was packed. And the meeting starts, and Dean Robinson stands up, on stage, and he starts his meeting. And all of a sudden, he's 3 minutes into his talk, and a student in List stood up. One student stood up. Oh, and everybody was wearing red shirts. And he kept talking, not quite sure what to do. And sometimes at Brown, students would stand up at a meeting and then start screaming at you in your face, while you were talking. But they weren't disrupting the meeting, they just stood up one at a time, and then 3 minutes later another one stood up. It took a while for people to realize what they were doing was every 3 minutes a woman gets raped, and so every 3 minutes a student in the audience stood up. They stood there silently. Dean Robinson kept talking. It was, you can imagine, rather disconcerting to him. He wasn't sure what was going on with this meeting, and in a very short time the entire auditorium was standing.